Wonder what the price will be.
Yeah,
should we have a bet on it?
Yeah,
now?
I bet it's going to be more. We know that.
Yeah.
John, welcome to the show, and it's great to have you here. And
Thank you.
Let's just talk a little bit first about fissara, exactly what it is and what it does. What's the basis for it?
That's a massive question with a massive answer, but I'll try and keep it simple.
Because I loved your website, and I had a quick look before
right,
the show.
okay,
So
good.
there's various elements to it, which is about maximising your resources and minimising the time taken to do it. Is that some of it?
Yeah, there's loads of components to it, and there's loads of value and benefit to it. But I always try and describe it as digital Lego, although there are other plastic connecting blocks available on the market. It is a modular system, and we started off. Fissara actually is a bit of a bend on an Italian word which means schedule.
Yep.
So that's where the name came from, and we started off doing scheduling for engineer visits.
Okay.
We've added to that now. We do asset management, we do time recording, we do build your own processes, workflows, and everything.
Yeah.
So to describe it simply, it's a platform technology that you buy as a subscription service, and it allows you to model your business processes and the way that you work onto it, and then run your engineers and your office. And so if you've got an operational business with people flying around fixing things with tools and doing stuff, then that's what Fissara does for you. So, and it takes you from, paper and whiteboards and spreadsheets to no paper, no spreadsheets, and no whiteboards. And it's quite a cultural change for some companies. So it's we're getting a lot of traction because there are lots and lots of big name companies out there that sell something similar for probably 10 times the price. So,
yeah, I mean, I've been involved in a couple of projects. One was only a resourcing software, which was Kronos.
Oh, right,
I know
probably
Kronos. Sort of, and that was massively expensive.
Yeah.
And also, it wasn't remotely hosted. It had to be, configured for the company.
Yeah.
So, and also, it didn't include all the other bits that you've talked about. So, but you started with scheduling. Is that where it first started?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That was the first thing.
It's quite a long story, but we were working, my business partner and myself were working for a company, and we put this proposition to the business and said, look, we could do this for you.
Yeah.
We were working with their engineers at the time and working to make them more efficient, really. And we put the proposition to them and said, this needs to be spun off. It's not your core business. You're a telecoms business. We're a couple of software guys. What do you think? And they said no. So we decided that if we could get some seed funding, we'd set up our own company and do exactly that. And that's, in its early stages, it was very, very simple. Here's an engineer, he needs to go somewhere. Let's schedule him, make sure he gets there in the right amount of time.
So scheduling first, and then was it customer relations and that bit next, or did you almost quite quickly decide to build the whole infrastructure around that scheduling?
We the original idea was we'd built a whole country in our minds,
like most developers do.
And we started off by putting one house on that country, and now it's expanding. So the good thing about that, the database and the infrastructure and the design has been there since day one. So all of the elements are in the database. So we just build modules on top of that.
So you always thought that you would be adding in modules to what you
developed. That was
always
always going to be the way we did it.
Okay.
And the reality now is that we've got probably 12, 13 different modules, and they all interwork together. They're all on the same platform, running on the same database. And the interesting thing is, as I said, we come up against some really big ticket organisations in competition, and we're winning. And it's because we've peeled back the layer of an onion, really.
Yep.
The fact that the customer actually develops their own processes and designs it themselves. So the core of what it does is exactly the same for whether you're running a care home or whether you're running an engineering business or a property management business. You've got people, engineers running around in vans fixing things with tools and managing assets.
Yeah.
And you've got to schedule their work, and you've got to optimize their work, and you've got processes to overlay and data capture to do.
Yeah.
So you add all that together, and it will work anywhere. So we're in sort of 4 sectors at the moment, which is a bit of a stretch, but aiming for 7 by the end of the
Oh,
year.
okay.
Yeah,
Well, we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how easy is it for different companies to customize the platform for their requirements?
Really simple. We've got to the point now where we're not really training people anymore because my sort of concept was that if we create good software, people should just be able to use it. So it looks nice, and it works. And I always look at the example of things like Twitter and Facebook. They change their user interface and their functionality daily. Nobody goes on a training course for that, so why should any of our users? And the result is that we add more features and more functions and more modules, and people just adapt to that and pick it up. We do have a few, issues occasionally, but, it doesn't any software company. So it is very, very simple.
So you talked earlier. They said there were about 12 or 13 elements to
Yeah.
the particular. What's been the hardest one to develop and why?
Well, for me, yeah, they've all been simple. But then I'm sort of the front end of the company. I ask my business partner that question,
And he'll be yeah.
and he'll tell you. I think that the one to improve on the way we schedule has been a massive challenge, but it's constant improvement.
Yeah.
And now, in my opinion, I think it's the best scheduling software on the planet.
Because it will alter, yes, and rightly so. It's your business and your development, but it also enables you to look at things like travel distance, optimising it. So that in itself is a great efficiency for companies going forward.
Yeah, we brought in some guys, senior mathematicians, to actually work out the algorithms to do that travel, if you like, equation that sits at the back of what we do. And it allows us to, schedule for the nearest engineer, optimise routes, and it sort of tackle that travelling salesman conundrum that's been around for years. But I want to go back to the earlier part of your question, a bit about the most difficult part to create.
Yeah,
we've just it's been in the press, thank God. We've just done a piece of work for O2, which was about rostering their control rooms. Yep. So we help them put people behind desks and manage their network. And the complexity of that is incredible. And if my business partner hasn't got any, he's got loads of hair, but if he pulled it all out, he wouldn't have any left.
Yeah.
So that was a big challenge.
Because of different shift systems and different contracts.
Yeah.
Or just
the complexities of the way that they've, over time, their business evolved into this process. And if you can imagine, you work with Dan. But
unfortunately,
under duress.
Yeah, it really is, unfortunately.
And that's fine when you two are working together. But when Mary's in the room, Dan doesn't pay any attention to you, and actually you get upset. So you don't like working with Dan and Mary at the same time. Quite happy to work with Mary.
You've been in our office.
Yeah.
Mary's great.
And then so you've got to add that complexity into software. So it's got to be a little bit intelligent to say, if this person's working with that person, then don't put this person on shift. And then on top of that, we've got to work out rota days and bank holiday. They get paid something more if they don't work a bank holiday, which is weird.
And it is, because all of those rules, and when I worked on the one I worked on, in the end, we had 2 work streams. One was about what can the software do or be configured to do, and what are we going to change around personnel contracts. Because actually what we see a lot of the time is people develop a system and continue because there's all these odd bits of working and ways of working that have developed over 10, 20, 30 years, that if it's, if there's a Y in the day, you have 1.5 times pay because it's on a bank holiday.
Exactly that.
And what you need to do is clean up the HR side, but also develop the scheduling side. Yeah. And actually that's the best companies and the best projects going forward are the ones that do a bit of both.
Yeah.
Because we had ridiculous half-day holidays, and then there was some hour holiday, and it was absolute nonsense. Yeah. And that needed to change so the system could, not be too personalised to that business. I think that's what we do.
Yeah. The challenge we always face, and this is a really good example, is to try and not to tailor the system too much to one customer. So what we try and do is every module is generic. So our rostering module is generic, our scheduling module is generic, our data capture, the mobile bit is all generic. You build your own forms. If we tailored it to one particular customer, we'd only have one customer.
So you've got 4 at the moment. You said you're working in 4 sectors. at the
4
moment.
sectors, yeah.
And what are the 3 you're looking at?
We are in a big one is telecoms.
Yeah.
So obviously O2, Motorola, blah blah blah. We are looking at utilities as well. So we're into a couple of renewable energy companies at the moment.
Okay.
And we've recently done an event up in Glasgow, which is really good.
Okay.
We are into hydro electricity, solar energy, and wind.
Yeah.
You might laugh at the word wind, but that's what they call
Yeah,
it.
well, there was lots of jokes there, but I stopped myself.
But the nice thing about it is there isn't another company. There probably would be if we saw them, but generally there isn't another company that's actually saying we are the number one software to manage all of your assets and people around renewable energy.
Because trouble with renewable, I've got this thing in my mind, renewable energy, you're going to have very remote sites that are spread out all over the country to get around them efficiently, to undertake the maintenance, repair, and
Exactly
it's
like
be a really
telecoms.
yeah,
it's the
very
same thing.
different. Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah,
So,
remote sites, you need to make sure you're taking the right equipment to go and do the right repair or the right maintenance task, and that needs to be managed and sorted.
So renewables is a big thing for me at the moment, and I'm trying to push us as the weapon of choice in that area. So.
Yeah.
So I can see it really works well for large organisations, but how can you help sort of smaller companies that are just starting to grow?
In exactly the same way.
Okay.
The issue with smaller companies is that they have to actually put their body and soul into it, because it's a big change, and there's a lot of thinking to be done about how they work and how they operate. I mean, we have a customer that's got 4 engineers. And it works for them because they can take all of the things that they do on paper and put those into the system, and then convert that into a working module for them. And because it's a subscription service, about servers and shared environments and virtual servers, etc. We can do it, so that it's affordable for them. So we go from 4 engineers up to, I think our biggest customer at the moment is around about 375.
So is it payable by license or individual member of staff, or is it
per license, per
license,
month, per user per month?
Okay, so it's relatively straightforward pricing structure for people.
Yeah, there's a bit of a start-up fee. We have to spin up a virtual environment and a little bit of hand-holding.
Set-up costs, obviously,
but not a lot.
So, obviously, you've been in business a while. I think 3 or 4 years in terms of this. Yeah,
4,000 years. No, 4 years. 4 years.
So, going back to the start when you raised your seed funding and everything else, what have you learned that you would have done differently in that 4 years?
Everything.
No,
everything. I think not everything. I think we were pretty self-sufficient. We started we found a contract that with a German company, and they tore up a contract with a big ticket software business and said, okay, you've got the know-how, go and make us one of these. And we did, and that got us started. And it was a room not much bigger than this studio. We started 4 of us in there. We're now in a much bigger office. I think for me, the biggest challenge has been getting investment. Yeah. We went out to get investment probably 18 months ago, and it's a real money go round. We eventually found a good company that were a crowdfunding company, and we're still with them. We still work with them very, very closely. But I think the fact is that you don't know what you're doing. Yeah. If you work in a large corporation and you come out of it and set up your own business, there's no guidebook to getting investment.
And also the market to raise funds has changed substantially since 2008. Yeah. And I think that's probably, Tim, you're seeing the same around the gaming industry, aren't you, about people developing games?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's
constantly evolving.
Yeah.
It's quicker than ever as well. We've never seen it a rise like this.
So, the only thing I'd like you to do is please could you develop a system for plumbers so they actually turn up on time, because they are notoriously bad. That's what we'd like to see, wouldn't we?
Yep. Well, you know what? I'd love to have a plumbing company on our books, but we haven't got one yet. Maybe I'll promise you if I come back for another session with you, I'll have a plumber on by then.
We could talk all show, but John, it's been lovely to talk to you about your business. People can get more information by going to your website, which is fissara.com.
Yep, that's it. Yeah,
great. Thank you so much for joining us, and you're going to stay with us for the rest of the show.
Excellent. Thanks
lovely.
very much.
Thank you so much. That sounds great, Dan, didn't it?
It was great. Yeah,
really,
fantastic.
really good. Well, it's that time of the show where we go to unboxing.
It is.
And now here's Danny, and we have a
Afternoon.
box. How you doing, Danny? All right. We've got a box, so Dan's going to open it up, and then we're just going to pass it around and have a look and play with it. So, what have we got, Danny? Oh, okay. So, actually, quite nice boxing.
Yep.
Quite a large box.
Quite a large.
It's got
Quite a large box. It's got a Parrot mini drones, jumping race drone. It's called Max.
Okay, that looks quite interesting. I like. What do you think of the packaging, Tim?